ID Alliance presents this week's short attention span sales tip. Good morning, it's Bill Farquharson. Just finishing up a really interesting week of talking to customers on the phone. It's funny how things happen in batches. You know, I'll have a conversation with somebody, then later on that day, the exact same conversation will come up, and then it'll come up a third time. And that happened with two different categories. And I thought I would commit these to video because it was really great info, great conversation. First of all, 3 people told me that they didn't have any time this week to make new business calls because they were crazy busy. The other thing was 2 people told me a great story about Perseverance. And let me pass that one along second. The subject matter of just of being crazy busy, you know, when you have that kind of week where everything's crashing up, everything's important, and you finish the day and then the week and say, oh my God, what happened? I was so nuts. It's okay to put new business activity aside. That is to say, understand me, it's okay not to start any new customers, any new prospects, but it's not okay not to follow up on those that you've got going in the pipeline. Even if you have to call them after hours and say, it's Bill Farquharson, I know it's 7 o'clock at night, but I'm just crazy busy right now. I want to talk to you. I just have to confess, I'm not going to get to you this week. But I will call you, and I'll call you next week. You'd be surprised at what an impression that makes on people. The other stories are about Perseverance. And I had 2 people tell me great stories. One of them called me yesterday, and he was like a 10-year-old kid. He like getting his first bicycle. He couldn't wait to tell me that an account that he'd been calling on for 6 years finally gave him an appointment. And he called me up. He said, I can't believe it. I simply can't believe it. I'll tell you another story when I get to the deeper dive here. The second one was someone today who said, I've been after someone for 2 years. A year ago, he finally agreed to come to our booth at the trade show, and he did. And I've not been able to get him on the phone since. But we have the same exact trade show, and I've been bugging him, and I'm going to get him to show up this year as well. And she asked me how to do that, and I gave her some ideas. But you know what? There's 2 great stories, because it's always those accounts that we've got that we're after just relentlessly. We're after them, and we think, oh, I'm wasting my time. And I want you to know you're not wasting your time. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. And who knows, maybe you'll have this next great Perseverance story. Okay, so let's break these down. Now, let me back up again. So we talked about being crazy busy. I think when you're crazy busy, certain special rules kick in. And I don't have to define what crazy busy is, besides a really good book, by the way. But certain rules kick in, okay? You have to be hypersensitive about what you're doing. You've got to look ahead and say, what's important? You know, what are my to-dos? What are my tasks? What's getting done? What's not getting done? I'm recording this on a Friday afternoon, and I'm already thinking about next week and the things that I missed doing because it was crazy busy for me as well. But you also have to protect your personal time. I think it's important to get up and walk around. Don't get stuck at the desk. One of the things I love about my Apple Watch is that at 10 minutes of the hour, every hour, it goes off and says, stand up, get up. And at first I didn't do it, but then it's like taking a little recess, and I get up and I walk around the corner, and I'll just walk around the first floor of my house, maybe get something to drink, and then come back and sit down. And it's refreshing. It's just a little thing. You got to protect your time too. Don't think that you're being effective if you're working 14-hour days. If you're working 14-hour days, you're probably just exhausted by the end of it, and you're not doing a very good job. So don't hang your hat on and feel prideful about the fact that you're working hard. You know, I think you've got to make good choices, good decisions, and it's okay to say no. But the other thing I want to tell you about this, by the way, is carve time out in the morning. All right, you can change your outgoing voicemail message and say, hey, it's Bill Farquharson. I'm going to be tied up until 9:30 this morning. And so if I wait till 9:30, then I will call you right back. If it can't, press 0, have me paged, or here's my cell phone number. What do you do until 9:30? New business. You make sales calls. Because the day is like a train. It's like a freight train. And in the morning, you step on and the train's at the station. And you step on, the train takes off and the day starts. By the end of the day, that train's going 100 miles an hour. And you have to jump off the train and roll down the hill and get up and dust yourself off if you live, and then get up and do it again when the train's at the station. So if anything that you need to do that's really important, do it first. The other thing of those perseverance stories, and I told you that there was my client yesterday that called and said, oh my God, this guy called me back. And then there was a woman that I spoke with today who said, oh my God, that he showed up to our trade show and I've been calling on him for 2 years. I want to tell you a very funny, very true story. This is the third piece to that years ago I was on a conference call and someone told me a story that I've never forgotten. You may have heard me tell this before if you've heard me give a presentation on the subject of voicemail. But there was a sales rep who was in a production meeting and his CSR comes in and says, you've got to come to the phone right now. That guy you've been calling on and calling, he's on the phone. And the sales rep says, I went to the phone, I picked it up, and sure enough, it was my big fish. This was the guy that I've been calling relentlessly, calling. And the gentleman said to me, I just want to ask your forgiveness, first of all, because I didn't mean to ignore you. I'm not the type that ignores people. But my company has a policy that we never return the phone call of any new vendors until they have left 5 voicemail messages. And I'm telling you, gang, that was about 7, 8 years ago, I think. And I'd never heard it before, and I've never heard it since. And I said to the sales rep, please tell me that you asked him why they have that policy. And the rep said, I did. And the man said, because we want to do the business with the best of the best. 90% of the people that make one call, leave one voicemail, never call again. It's fine. We let them go. The best of the best are persistent. So we decided that we were not going to call on anybody. We're not going to call anybody back until they left 5 voicemail messages. He said, you've left 5. You get on my calendar. Tell me what works for you. And I thought, what a great story. There again is the value of perseverance. Why not leave that in your voicemail message? Hey, this is Bill Farquharson. If you're one of those companies that requires a new vendor to leave 5 voicemail messages, just want to let you know if you're scoring at home, this is number 4. I can call you one more time, and then you have your company's permission to call me back. Here's my telephone number. What's the worst that they're going to do? Here's the thing about perseverance. They're not doing business with you right now. So if you go over the top, you make one too many calls, what's going to happen? They're going to really, really not do business with you. It's like going to Vegas and walking out having broken even. You haven't lost a thing. All right, so listen, it's Miller time. It's past 5 o'clock. I'm out of here. You have a great selling week. I appreciate your time and attention. And there's lots more where this came from. So please check out the material on the website. And I look forward to working with you. Have a great selling week, everybody. Bye.